If you have ever believed that you are too broken to reach genuine frequency resonance, that your anger, your grief, your fear are evidence that you haven't come far enough, this moment was made exactly for you. I am going to tell you something at the end of this video that most spiritual teachers never dare say out loud, something that pulls the foundation out from under the entire positivity only movement, so please stay with me. But first, before we say a single word more about frequency, I need us to do something. Place our hand on our chest. Actually do it, I'm doing it too. Feel the weight of your own warmth. And while you're there, think about the last emotion you pushed away, not because you didn't feel it, but because some part of you said, this isn't allowed, this is pulling me down, or this is something I'm not allowed to feel. Maybe anger you swallowed during a meeting, grief you left off at a party, and emptiness you numbed out with your phone, your work, your endless to-do lists. We all know this, not because we're weak, but because we were literally taught that those emotions are dangerous, proof of spiritual failure. But what if that is the greatest lie we were ever told? In psychology, there is a concept called affective suppression, the conscious or unconscious inhibition of emotional response. And what decades of research tells us is this: suppression is not regulation, it is storage. Think about that for a moment. We are not putting the emotion away, we are freezing it. And frozen energy has a frequency. That is the frequency of stagnation, of water that stopped moving and started rotting. Notice now, is there something tight in your throat, your jaw, your belly, somewhere in your body that is literally stored movement waiting for permission to complete? I feel it still in my shoulder blades. The autonomic nervous system does not distinguish between an emotion from 20 years ago and a threat happening right now. It responds to both identically. It is not a metaphor, it is experience and physiology. In virtually every mystical tradition, from jungian shadow work to Tibetan Tantra to African ancestral healing, there lives one shared truth. The deepest tones are the foundation of the highest notes. In music, we call this bassline. The heaviest, darkest sound in a composition, and without that bass, everything else sounds hollow, thin, empty. We believe we can remove our bassline and still produce a full human sound. But what we produce is a tiny surface level echo of who we actually are. I know this because I did it for years, and I am going to tell you how that felt. I remember I saw 333 on the timer, thank you. I remember a moment, and this is real, this is mine. I was in the middle of an anxiety spiral, and my very first thought was, I am not allowed to feel this, I know better. Why are you overreacting? That second rejection of my own fear was more painful than the fear itself. Because what I was telling myself in that moment was, this part of me is not welcome here. In psychology, that is called self-alienation. And it is one of the most powerful sources of low-frequency energy I know of. I felt. Not the emotion itself, the pushing away of it. There is also something structural we need to name. The high vibe only industry has a vested interest in your ongoing unrest. If you buy a course to raise your vibrations, and you actually do permanently, you don't need that course. The business model depends on a problem that never fully resolves. Sit with that for a second. The constant pressure to be more positive, more elevated, lighter, higher. Baby, that's not spiritual guidance. Sometimes it is a revenue model built on your continuous sense of inadequacy. Heraclitus wrote, Vantarai, everything flows. A river that stops flowing becomes a swamp. Our emotions are not the enemy, they are moving water in search of a direction. And the paradox of frequency resonance is this: the more we can hold the full range of human emotion, from the deepest grief to the highest joy, the stronger our frequency becomes. Not because we are always high, but because we are whole. Aristotle described catharsis, the release of emotion through art, as purification. Not removal, purification. The emotion moves through, and in moving, it transforms. That transformation is what resonance actually is. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett describes emotions as predictions, not as fixed reactions, but active constructions the brain builds from incoming sensory data and past experience. That means we have more agency over our emotional state than that we believe. But, and this is crucial, that agency does not begin with control. It begins with awareness, with allowing the emotion to complete its cycle so the nervous system can return to baseline on its own. Every time we interrupt that cycle, every time we suppress before the wave can rest, we are creating what trauma specialist Peter Levine calls incomplete action circles. The nervous system spins, it waits, it tightens, and we wonder why we are so exhausted. Breathe into your own chest right now. One slow inhale, and the exhale, let your shoulders drop. Feel how they may have been raised without you noticing. That is the physical cost of held emotion. That physical tension is not you necessarily, it is stored movement waiting to complete. Oh, I feel like I needed to hear this myself. Let's name one emotion we keep pushing away most consistently. Let's give it a name. I will give an example. I see you carrying the weight of the world. I feel you carrying the weight of the world. I'll see you. You are allowed to be here. I feel it immediately shifting in my shoulder blades. I feel the tension releasing. And I'm curious if you've noticed the shift in your body, however small. That small opening, that's not the weakness, that is the frequency resonance, genuine, unforced, yours. And now, what most spiritual teachers never dare say out loud. Our lowest frequency is not an obstacle to our spiritual growth. It is our spiritual growth. Resonance is not the achievement of a permanent high state. That's physically impossible. It is the capacity to carry the full bandwidth of what it means to be human. And that bandwidth is only built by sitting with the dark, by knowing it, by honoring it. Not as an enemy, but as a teacher. As the deepest baseline and the most honest composition we will ever make. The one called our life. So let me know in the reactions which emotion you've been pushing away the longest. And for me, it is blame. I don't like saying that, but okay, yes, blame. Thank you so very much for listening. As always, please like and subscribe if you support my content. It really helps me out with the algorithm. I love you all so very much. Stay safe, stay unharmed, and remember, frequency is power. Bye!